Welcome to History Explained, where we illuminate the past to better understand our present. I'm your guide to your daily journey through the past to empower the future. Today is Tuesday, June 3, 2025. As we do every Tuesday, we're exploring a remarkable individual whose life and achievements left an indelible mark on history. Today, we turn our attention to Benjamin Franklin, one of the most fascinating and multifaceted figures in American history. A printer, scientist, inventor, diplomat, philosopher, and founding father, Franklin embodied the spirit of the Enlightenment and played a crucial role in shaping the American nation during its formative years. What makes Benjamin Franklin particularly compelling is how he represented the ideal of the self-made man while simultaneously demonstrating the power of intellectual curiosity, practical innovation, and civic engagement. From his humble beginnings as the son of a candle maker to his status as one of the most respected figures on both sides of the Atlantic, Franklin's life story illustrates the possibilities that emerge when talent meets opportunity and determination. So let's explore the extraordinary life of Benjamin Franklin, examining his rise from obscurity to prominence, his groundbreaking scientific discoveries, his diplomatic achievements, and his lasting contributions to American political thought and institutions. Benjamin Franklin was born on January 17, 1706, in Boston, Massachusetts, the 15th of 17 children born to Josiah Franklin, a candle and soap maker. The Franklin family represented the emerging middle class of colonial America, neither wealthy nor impoverished, but hardworking and ambitious for their children's advancement. Franklin's formal education was brief, ending when he was just 10 years old due to his family's financial constraints. However, this limitation proved to be a catalyst rather than an obstacle. Franklin became an voracious autodidact, reading every book he could find and developing the habits of self-improvement and intellectual curiosity that would define his entire life. At age 12, Franklin was apprenticed to his older brother James, who operated a printing shop and published one of Boston's first newspapers. This apprenticeship provided Franklin with invaluable skills in writing, printing, and publishing, but it also created tension between the brothers. James was often harsh and controlling, treating Benjamin more like a servant than a brother. The relationship reached a breaking point when Franklin began secretly writing articles under the pseudonym Silence Dogood, an elderly widow who offered satirical commentary on Boston society. These essays, published in James's newspaper, were widely read and discussed, but when James discovered his younger brother was the author, he was furious rather than proud. In 1723, at age 17, Franklin broke his apprenticeship contract and fled to Philadelphia, arriving with little more than the clothes on his back and a few coins in his pocket. This journey marked the beginning of his transformation from a runaway apprentice to one of colonial America's most influential figures. Philadelphia in the 1720s was a rapidly growing city that offered opportunities for ambitious young men. Franklin quickly found work with local printers and impressed employers with his skills and work ethic. However, his ambitions extended beyond merely working for others. He dreamed of establishing his own printing business and becoming financially independent. Franklin's first major break came when Pennsylvania's colonial governor, William Keith, promised to help him establish his own printing shop by providing letters of credit for purchasing equipment in London. Trusting in this promise, Franklin sailed to London in 1724, only to discover upon arrival that Keith had never written the promised letters. Stranded in London without resources, Franklin could have despaired, but instead he viewed the situation as an opportunity. During his 18 months in London, Franklin worked for established printers, honed his craft, and absorbed the intellectual atmosphere of one of Europe's great cities. He read extensively, engaged in philosophical discussions, and developed connections that would prove valuable throughout his career. Most importantly, he learned valuable lessons about self-reliance and the importance of not depending on others' promises for his success. Returning to Philadelphia in 1726, Franklin worked briefly for other printers before establishing his own printing business in 1728. His combination of technical skill, business acumen, and understanding of public taste quickly made his shop successful. By 1729, he had purchased the Pennsylvania Gazette newspaper, which he transformed into one of colonial America's most influential publications. Franklin's success as a printer provided the financial foundation for his later achievements in science, politics, and diplomacy. But more than that, it established his reputation as a man of practical wisdom and civic engagement. Through his newspaper, almanacs, and pamphlets, Franklin became a voice of reason and progress in colonial society. Perhaps Franklin's most famous publication was Poor Richard's Almanac, which he began publishing in 1732. This annual publication combined practical information about weather, astronomical data, and farming advice with memorable proverbs and sayings that reflected Franklin's philosophy of life. Phrases like, "early to bed and early to rise," makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, and "a penny saved is a penny earned," became deeply embedded in American culture. The almanac's success demonstrated Franklin's genius for combining entertainment with instruction, profit with public service. It also revealed his understanding of how to reach ordinary people with ideas about self-improvement, civic responsibility, and moral behavior. As Franklin's wealth and influence grew, he became increasingly involved in civic affairs. He believed that successful individuals had obligations to their communities, and he consistently demonstrated this principle through his actions. In the 1730s and 1740s, he founded or helped establish numerous institutions that improved Philadelphia's quality of life. Franklin established the first public library in America, arguing that books should be available to all citizens, not just the wealthy. He organized the first volunteer fire company, recognizing that urban fires posed threats to entire communities. He helped create Pennsylvania's first hospital and founded what would become the University of Pennsylvania. These civic achievements reflected Franklin's Enlightenment belief in human progress through reason, education, and collective action. He saw no contradiction between pursuing personal success and working for the common good. Indeed, he believed they were mutually reinforcing. While building his printing business and engaging in civic affairs, Franklin was also pursuing scientific investigations that would bring him international recognition. His interests ranged widely, from meteorology to medicine, but his most famous work involved electricity, a poorly understood phenomenon that fascinated 18th-century natural philosophers. Franklin's electrical experiments in the 1740s and 1750s led to fundamental discoveries about the nature of electrical charge. He developed the theory that lightning was essentially the same phenomenon as laboratory electrical sparks, a hypothesis he famously tested with his kite experiment during a thunderstorm in 1752. Beyond the dramatic image of Franklin flying a kite in a storm, his electrical work had practical applications. He invented the lightning rod, which protected buildings from lightning strikes and saved countless lives and property. He also developed electrical terminology that we still use today, including positive and negative charges, battery, and conductor. Franklin's scientific achievements brought him recognition throughout Europe and America. He was elected to the Royal Society of London, received honorary degrees from universities, and corresponded with leading scientists across the Atlantic. This international reputation would prove invaluable when he later served as a diplomat representing American interests. Franklin's approach to science exemplified Enlightenment ideals. He believed in observation, experimentation, and the sharing of knowledge for the benefit of humanity. He never patented his inventions, arguing that since he had benefited from the discoveries of others, he should freely share his own contributions to human knowledge. As tensions between Britain and its American colonies intensified in the 1750s and 1760s, Franklin found himself increasingly involved in political affairs. His role evolved from local civic leader to colonial representative to revolutionary statesman. Initially, Franklin hoped that differences between Britain and America could be resolved through reason and compromise. He spent nearly 2 decades in London as Pennsylvania's colonial agent, working to protect colonial interests and bridge the growing divide between British authorities and American colonists. However, Franklin's views changed dramatically following his humiliation before the British Privy Council in 1774, when he was publicly denounced and dismissed from his position as colonial postmaster general. This experience convinced him that reconciliation was impossible and that America must seek independence. Returning to Philadelphia in 1775, Franklin threw himself into the independence movement with the same energy he had brought to his scientific and business pursuits. Despite being the oldest delegate at the Continental Congress, he played crucial roles in drafting the Declaration of Independence and organizing the new nation's government. Franklin's most important contribution to American independence came through his diplomatic mission to France. Recognizing that America could not defeat Britain without foreign assistance, Congress sent Franklin to Paris in 1776 to negotiate an alliance with France, Britain's traditional enemy. Franklin's success as a diplomat was remarkable. He understood that diplomacy required more than formal negotiations. It demanded an understanding of psychology, culture, and public opinion. In France, he cultivated an image as a simple American philosopher, wearing plain clothes and a fur cap that contrasted sharply with the elaborate fashions of European courts. This carefully crafted persona was enormously effective. French intellectuals and aristocrats were charmed by Franklin's apparent simplicity, his scientific reputation, and his embodiment of Enlightenment ideals. He became a celebrity in Paris, and his popularity helped build French support for the American cause. The French alliance that Franklin negotiated proved decisive in America's victory over Britain. French naval power, military supplies, and financial support enabled American forces to continue fighting and ultimately triumph at Yorktown in 1781. After the war, Franklin remained in Paris to negotiate the Treaty of Paris in 1783, which formally ended the conflict and recognized American independence. His diplomatic skills were crucial in securing favorable terms that established America's borders and rights. Returning to America in 1785 after 9 years abroad, Franklin found a nation struggling with the weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation. Despite his advanced age, he was now over 80. He agreed to serve as a delegate to the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia in 1787. At the convention, Franklin served as a voice of moderation and compromise. His presence lent credibility to the proceedings, and his occasional interventions helped resolve critical deadlocks. His final speech, delivered on the last day of the convention, eloquently argued for unanimous approval of the Constitution despite its imperfections. Franklin died on April 17, 1790, at age 84, having lived to see the establishment of the new nation he had helped create. His funeral in Philadelphia was attended by 20,000 people, reflecting the deep respect and affection Americans felt for this remarkable man. Franklin's legacy extends far beyond any single achievement. He embodied the Enlightenment belief in human progress through reason, education, and hard work. His life demonstrated that in America, talent and effort could triumph over humble origins, a principle that became central to the American dream. His contributions to American political thought were profound. Franklin understood that successful democracy required not just good institutions but also virtuous citizens willing to subordinate private interests to the common good. His own life exemplified this principle, as he consistently used his talents and resources for public benefit. Franklin's scientific legacy continued to influence subsequent generations of American inventors and entrepreneurs. His practical approach to innovation, combining theoretical understanding with useful applications, became a hallmark of American technological development. Perhaps most importantly, Franklin helped establish the ideal of the engaged citizen who sees civic participation as both a privilege and a responsibility. His numerous civic initiatives demonstrated how individuals could work together to solve community problems and improve society. Benjamin Franklin's extraordinary life reminds us that greatness can emerge from humble beginnings when combined with curiosity, determination, and commitment to serving others. His journey from runaway apprentice to founding father illustrates the transformative power of education, hard work, and civic engagement. Thank you for joining us for this exploration of Benjamin Franklin's remarkable life. Tomorrow, we'll be back with our World Events episode where we'll be examining the Tiananmen Square protests of 1989 and their lasting impact on China and global democracy movements. If you enjoyed this journey through history, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We'd also love to hear your thoughts. Which of Franklin's many achievements do you find most impressive, and what lessons from his life seem most relevant today? Let us know in the comments section below. For our members, this Sunday we'll have a special roundup of historical figures from the past week with additional insights and connections between their lives and contemporary leadership challenges. Until next time, I'm your guide for History Explained, where we believe that understanding yesterday is the key to navigating tomorrow.